Welcome to Encounter at Catholic Charities, a podcast from Catholic Charities of Central and Northern Missouri, created to share the story of our work to provide care and create hope in the Diocese of Jefferson City through compassionate social services to those in need, regardless of faith, culture, or situation. I'm your host, Ashley Wiskirchen, the Senior Director of Communications here at Catholic Charities, and this week we're joined by Paige Orscheln, our HUD-Certified Housing Counselor in the Community Services Program. January is Poverty Awareness Month, so for this podcast, Paige sat down with me to talk about understanding poverty and how those experiencing poverty may relate to the housing market. Vice versa, how those who secure safe, clean, and affordable housing can find their way into financial stability, social stability, and climb out of the effects of poverty. I hope you enjoy this episode of Encounter at Catholic Charities.
My name is Paige Orscheln. I am the HUD-Certified Housing Counselor here at Catholic Charities of Central and Northern Missouri, and I work in the Community Services Program. I began working at Catholic Charities in December of 2022, and before that I was working in the housing industry but wanted to do something where I was serving others in a better way. I did not know much about HUD-Certified Housing Counseling prior to stepping into the role. I knew that it existed, but I didn't know what all it truly entailed and what the certification would look like and where HUD-Certified counselors even were in our area at that time. Before coming to Catholic Charities, I had really little to no direct work with anybody below the poverty line. And that's why I wanted to step into this role, to actually get the hands-on experience. Prior to that, I was in banking, real estate, the housing industry, but not with poverty. So it was a very, very big transition and switch. I've had a lot of new experiences and understandings of what poverty looks like. I think we all would step into something like that with, whether you want to or not, some kind of biases and preconceived notions of what you think poverty is and what it looks like, and that, oh, well, if people maybe just made some other decisions in life, that this would be different, or if I were them, I could do this. It wouldn't happen to me. And very, very quickly realized how wrong that is.
Yeah, it's really interesting. My own formation at Catholic Charities, really with Catholic Charities USA, kind of opened my eyes to poverty and how it relates to every other aspect of a person's life. And when we talk about integral human development, which is kind of the lens at most Catholic Charities agencies that we're providing services through, so not looking to solve one person's one specific problem, but encountering another person and kind of seeing their whole life as the supportive mechanisms that they need to succeed, right? So socially, in a belief system, physically well, physical health and physically safe, housing that's sustainable and dignified work. For me, those were concepts I was loosely aware of, but I hadn't really put all the pieces together until I came to work at Catholic Charities. And I'm sure now in your experience with clients that you see, you experience that as well. So can you share a little bit about how the facets of a person's life are not only tied to their finances, but maybe how that affects their well-being and vice versa?
With my work, I work, in the housing. So somebody's home is, one of the most basic necessities, and people can't be healthy physically, mentally, if they're living in situations that aren't clean and safe and affordable. Those are always the things that we're looking for. We just want people to be in a safe, clean, sustainable home. And that seems like a pretty simple ask, but it's really, really hard. And for people that don't live in somewhere that's clean, safe, affordable, they're possibly living out of their car or living on the street, and that does not do good things for people's health, mentally, physically. And then trying to maintain a job as well. It just affects every aspect of their life.
So then it's true also, if other aspects of their life are affected negatively by their housing, then it has to be true that when they find safe, secure, affordable housing, they can start to, find that also like inner peace, that mental stability, that familial stability that can help them succeed in other parts of their life. So have you had an encounter with someone who's come to Catholic Charities that you've really seen succeed after, receiving counseling services for housing?
Really common, like that these are pretty, often they're long processes of meeting many times before these, we're working through finances, we're working through credit building, we're working through all of these things that are very, very important, but not very fun, I guess, and once we kind of get through, we're always working on other personal goals as well. We take financial goals and personal goals as well and try to mix them in, but we have to tackle those. Once we tackle those and we're in somewhere that's safe and clean, it's really amazing the people that, whenever I say, what's your next goal you want to work on? And it's, well, I want to give back. Is a lot of times what they say. They're like, how can I come volunteer at Catholic Charities and help somebody else? So they want to find things to do with their time to help other people just like they've been helped, which is amazing. And then beyond that, just finding, once they're stable, they want to find a craft or a hobby or friends, just fun things to do and enjoy life.
Yeah, I think that, when Sister Kathleen was here, both as the mission integration director and in her time as interim executive director, that was something that Sister Kathleen really shared with me, that she would visit with folks in the pantry and be really not surprised, but genuinely moved by the generosity and the goodwill that people who came here to shop the pantry or came here, to receive services just poured back out. It's pretty incredible. So how have those encounters with clients, as you see them working toward a goal, as you hear the stories of them, hoping to give back and pour that back out, how have those affected you?
It's pretty incredible, really. Like you said, it's very eye-opening, and just to put yourself in that situation and think about if you were in their shoes, would you be that kind and generous and wanting to give back and help, or would you just be focused on me and my situation and how can I get to a steady, stable place? So it's been really, really eye-opening for me.
Did you know that at the time of this recording, Catholic Charities of Central and Northern Missouri is one of only 2 HUD-certified housing agencies for the 38 counties we serve across the Diocese of Jefferson City? Housing services are critical, especially for those in underserved communities, and we want to see this work thrive. If you'd like to join us in support of housing counseling at Catholic Charities, you can give a gift online at cccnmo.diojeffcity.org/give, or give us a call at 573-635-7719. We welcome your support. Now, back to the podcast.
So what does it look like to receive housing counseling services at Catholic Charities? Kind of like from the first phone call, someone might call in and say, I want to talk to your HUD-certified housing counselor. How does that relationship grow with you?
Yeah, so I'll get the phone call and, we'll kind of talk about in that initial phone call what category you're kind of going to fall into. Is it the first-time home buyer? Is it foreclosure prevention? Just kind of assessing what your needs are. From there, then we'll schedule a first appointment. That can be done in person or virtually. And that's whenever we'll start to really dig into your situation. And for everybody, we kind of do a budget, a credit analysis, financial analysis is needed. But overall, how all appointments are structured is I'm working with you and we're setting your goals. So that's something that you tell me what your goals are and we work together to reach those. However, some people that may be something short, just a couple appointments. For some people that may be a year long. A lot of times the housing counseling, people are wondering, what exactly is that? Is it for me? But really, housing counseling is for everyone. We do first-time homebuyer education, foreclosure prevention, post-purchase awareness, and rental counseling as well. I mean, everybody has a home or needs a home, so it's actually for everybody, which is surprising to a lot of folks.
Imagine there are some barriers to people seeking housing counseling. Maybe some of them are they don't know about housing counseling or don't know that it could benefit them. Maybe they are just not in a place yet where they are even solid or stable enough to ask, like to call and ask about that. What do you think are some of the hurdles to people receiving the type of education or advocacy that they need to secure housing?
Yeah, I think for some people it's a lack of awareness of what's out there. And then for some people, I think that they do feel a stigma of fearing reaching out for help and assistance.
I help cover answering the phones at Catholic Charities on our main line, and I know we receive a lot of calls for rent and utility assistance specifically. I know that's a really big need across basically every county that we serve, and it's a need that's very challenging to deliver on because funding for those basic needs at any agency can run out quickly, maybe even halfway through the month. So helping to solve that initial need is not always sustainable for social services agencies or community, partners. We often take those phone calls here at Catholic Charities and have the opportunity to talk about HUD-Certified Housing Counseling and maybe barriers to that stability that the caller or the person in need is experiencing. And oftentimes when I handle those phone calls, folks don't even know like what housing counseling is or why it would help them or how it could help them.
Yeah, so whenever I do get calls from rental assistance, and if we don't have the funds to assist in that capacity, definitely I try to educate them and say what housing counseling is education and guidance towards your goals. And that may look like, for somebody that is calling for rent assistance, well, we may not be able to do rent assistance, but I can help you budget. So if we sit down together and we look at your budget and why you're struggling, why you've gotten behind, and work together to correct that and to build a safety net for yourself, to build an emergency fund, that is what really, really helps. And people they do need the help with the budgeting and the helping them get there. It happens often that I get rental calls that they don't end up being financial rent assistance, but they turn into longer term budgeting, credit building help. It's been really successful that we'll have a meeting where we work on the budget and then we figure out a strategy specifically for them. That may be that they need a bill calendar or tracking actually every day what they spend, daily tracking, monthly tracking. There's all different kinds of ways to do it. And then we set times that work well where I check in on them however often they need it. If they need checked in on once a week, I'll touch base with them once a week. If they need once a month, we'll do once a month. But if they're willing to do that, then they just need somebody to check in, and that makes a difference.
Yeah, that ties back to when I mentioned integral human health earlier in this podcast. Helping somebody find the sustainable way to kind of reset their cycle from being a cycle of need to thriving in their own, situation, scenario. So do you get to does it feel really great when you see someone, secure that rental or get their first-time home buyer, education completed and put down their down payment? What does it feel like?
Of course, it's so rewarding to see it. All of, not my hard work, their hard work, to see all of their commitment actually come to fruition is so rewarding. It's pretty amazing, to see like some had single mothers that live in their parents' basement that are able to save and working towards getting their own home, and to, at first it seems like, oh, that's so far down the road, it's not going to happen for me, can never see it happening, and then whenever it finally does happen, it's so cool.
How could listeners of this podcast help alleviate poverty or alleviate the suffering of people who are experiencing poverty in regards to housing? If someone's there listening right now thinking, this is a really serious topic, I'm just learning about it, I haven't known about it, how can I help? Do you have any suggestions for them?
Of course, financial is always a big one whenever it comes to housing because it's just the biggest expense that most people have every month. So having that, if we are able to provide, financial assistance, mortgage assistance, that utility assistance, that is always a big, big need. And just educating yourself, becoming more aware of the housing crisis in our local community. Oftentimes there are affordable housing meetings that are available for the public as well to get involved in.
That your faith informs a lot of your work, and at Catholic Charities we serve any client regardless of faith, culture, or situation. But how does your faith tie into your work at Catholic Charities, and how does it help you prepare to see clients, spend time with clients, and experience some of these very, very challenging stories and situations that our clients are in and turn them into hopeful or inspiring or kind of lift up the clients that you're seeing?
I think we all know that at any job, you're never going to show up and have a 100% perfect day every day. So especially in this line of work, my faith plays a really big role because there's days where I feel like maybe I didn't say the right thing or I missed an opportunity. But every day I'm praying that let them hear what they need to hear from me. And I think that they do. I trust that they're hearing what they need to hear, even if I don't feel like it was perfect.
Thank you for listening to Encounter at Catholic Charities, a podcast sharing the story of our work to provide compassionate care and create hope in the 38 counties we serve in central and northern Missouri. Our introduction music was created by Gerardo Garcia of Storyblocks. Additional sound and editing by Ashley Wiskirchen. Catholic Charities of Central and Northern Missouri, providing care, creating hope, serving all regardless of faith, culture, or situation.